oat recipe. Another one made with oats, good old oats. And I use them as breakfast patties. I make them bigger and make them as hamburger buns. To put in hamburger buns. I eat them just like that as a snack. And you don't have to feel guilty because there's what's in there? Oats, pecans, and a bunch of spices like I have onion, garlic powder, thyme, basil, and a bunch of other little ingredients, but they're herbs. And that's it. And what I do, I boil water. I put, so it's 4 cups of oats. So it makes a lot of patties. So I'll put 4 cups of water to 4 cups of oats. I use Bragg's amino acid in there, and that's what gives it the salty flavor and the herbs. And I do add a little olive oil, but what I do is I'll boil the water with the Bragg's amino acid, and then I add the spices in there, and I bring it to a boil. I'll put the oats in, and I'll turn off the flame, and then I'll add my olive oil in so that the olive oil isn't boiling in there. And I stir it once because there are pecans in there, and you don't want the pecans to just settle on the bottom. And then once you stir it once, you've already turned off the flame. Just cover it and let it sit there and let it hydrate. Don't stir it up. Otherwise, what you're going to have is oatmeal cereal. You don't want,
big mess.
You don't want that. What you're trying to do is just get the oats to hydrate. And then you just leave it, cover it, go away, come back a few hours later, and I use a nice little scoop that has a rubber center so it makes my patties uniform. Scoop it out, make a patty, put it on a cookie tray, stick it in the oven, 350, 15 minutes on each side. That's it. And you don't have to use pecans. You can use sunflower seeds. You can use whatever, walnuts. But I like it with pecans.
We've even done sunflower patties. Here's one for a sister here who had a problem with the nut allergy. We actually would just use the replacement of sunflowers in the ingredients, and those sunflower seeds work perfect. Work perfect. So there's really no excuse.
So simple.
And it's so simple, yes. You know, there's another question, another thing that I want to kind of say, and that is that when you are on the end of the spectrum that we're on, which is, we're way out there, we're like vegans, you know, all that kind of crazy stuff. As Doctor said, we try to practice as practically as we can. So if you bring us to your house, we're not going to be poking around and seeing what you got in there. If you do have some four-legged animals, we're going to pass. But other than that, if you got cheese or whatever, we don't make it a practice in our house. But we're not going to put our burden on you, so to speak.
We'll eat what you prepare.
We'll eat what you prepare. But what I want to say is that when you get out here where we are, you should not be fearful bringing people into what you're doing, because it's so novel and it's so amazing that back in 1980, when I brought my boss home and fed him non-four-legged animals and such, you know, anything that had a face, a mother, children, or hop, run, swim, Any of those kind of things, we don't normally put them in, right? But we did that back in 1980, and then they said, wow, this food is amazing. And they thought they were eating, those other things. So what happens is that you and many other people think, oh, well, when I bring my family members home, I have to fix what they eat. And I have to cross back over onto the other side. We have not had that problem. And as a matter of fact, because it's so novel to them, they almost always come to us and say, what is that? How did you do it? Give me the recipe. Show me how I can. So stop being fearful of going out to the spectrum. You don't have to go as far as we are at, like Dr. said. Just make the move. Because here's what the statistics tell you. And you can look at the Adventist Health Study. We've been studying this for how many years, Pat, Doctor? 100 years? It's incredible how much the Adventists have been studied. We poke, we stump, we have put you on all kinds of things. And so what we do in classes and everything else is we say, we're not going to tell you what to do, but we are definitely studying. And we definitely know. Incrementally, we know all the way down to if you're a vegan, you're going to live that far. If you're a vegetarian, you're going to live this far. In other words, the 12-year spectrum is the vegan. That's what Adventists know. That's the blue zone. They're reporting not on everybody short of that. They're saying Adventists are blue zone. Well, we're not. We really are. If you go into the average church, you will find that amongst our members, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, but we're probably about 30 to 40% vegans. So what is it saying? It's saying that the Adventists in the blue zone, we are actually getting the advantage of a small subset of our people. And guess what the world is doing? They're knocking on our doors because of that. What would happen if all of us chose that? Do you imagine the diseases that we would not have in and among our people? It wouldn't be known. That's what the Bible says. The Bible says the diseases of Egypt, that comes from this lifestyle stuff. And therefore, if we practice like what they practice, we're going to get sick like they are. So we have a great advantage. But my last point, and I don't want to overburden